Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And my name is Catherine. And today we're talking about being on the road.
Yeah, we're going to be on the road, but we're going to encounter a little bit of car problems.
My favorite kind.
Yeah, I think it's happened to everyone. You're on the road, or maybe you're coming back from work. You get a flat tire, or something happens to your car, right?
And it's always when you're in a rush.
And most of the time, it's raining.
Yeah. Or snowing. So all of the circumstances definitely, well, they don't help, let's just say. All right, so before we listen to this dialogue, let's take a look at some of the words in today's vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
All right, so we're going to take a look at two words. They're kind of strange, I don't know, kind of difficult to understand, so that's why we're going to explain them. The first one is spew, to spew.
It's a verb, okay? To spew, well, what can spew? A volcano can spew.
Exactly.
An engine can spew. A person can spew.
Yeah, that's not very nice.
No.
So basically, it's to like expel or to
Shoot out
from your mouth or something liquid. So in the case of a person, right?
So if a person spews, it means a person throws up, but it's usually very forceful. All right, it's very messy. A volcano can spew lava.
Exactly. So a volcano is spewing lava. Now, for the next word that we have, it's an informal way of saying that something is broken.
We could say it's busted.
It's busted. My DVD player is busted.
Man, my phone is busted.
So it's an informal way, very popular, very common, I would say, to describe that something is not working. I don't think many people actually say, well, it's broken or it's damaged.
Yeah, they're pretty much mixed, I think. But you will definitely hear busted if you're talking to native English speakers.
Or even, like, for example, your arm. Oh, he's got a busted arm.
Exactly. So busted.
All right, so let's listen to our dialogue for the first time. Let's see what's going on with this car trouble, and then we'll come back and explain some things.
You know what, Mia? I think almost everyone has faced that scary moment when their car suddenly stops working.
Oh, absolutely. It's like the car has its own personality. One minute it's fine, and the next it just dies on you. By the way, that's a great phrase for our listeners. The car died on me. It means the car suddenly stopped working.
Exactly. You can use it for other things too. For example, my phone died on me while I was on a call, or my laptop died on me during the exam. It's a really useful everyday phrase.
Yes, and speaking of cars dying, imagine this. You're driving home. Maybe you're tired, maybe it's even raining, and suddenly white smoke comes out of the front of your car. That can be terrifying if you don't know what's happening.
For sure. And usually that white smoke means something serious, like your radiator overheating. The radiator is the part of the car that keeps the engine cool. If it gets too hot, the car starts spewing steam. And to spew is another cool word. It means to shoot out or forcefully come out, like a volcano spewing lava.
Or like someone saying, I ate too much cake and I almost spewed. Not a nice image, but it helps you remember the word, right?
Definitely. And this is why I think going to a mechanic can feel so stressful. Most people don't know these words: radiator, transmission, pistons. And when the mechanic starts talking, it sounds like another language.
Yes, and that's why today's talk is so important. If you know even a few of these words, you feel more confident. You don't panic, you don't feel lost, and you can actually understand what's wrong with your car.
And not just with cars. Think about it. When you learn these kinds of words, you build your English power. You can use spew, you can use die on me, and you sound so much more natural. That's real life English.
I love that. And I also think it's kind of motivating. Even a small thing like knowing how to say, my car is busted, instead of just, my car is broken, makes you sound more fluent.
Yes, busted is such a common natural word. Native speakers use it all the time. You can say, my phone is busted, my chair is busted, or even, I busted my sunglasses yesterday.
So, next time when your car gives you trouble, don't just panic. Take a deep breath, remember these words, and you'll not only fix your car, you'll fix your English too.
And if you're enjoying this conversation, make sure to share it, like it, and leave us a comment. Tell us, has your car ever died on you?
Alex, I have to confess something. The first time I went to a mechanic, I felt completely lost. The man said, "Pop the hood," and I just stood there thinking, "Pop what?"
Yes, that's a classic. Pop the hood means to open the front of the car so you can see the engine. And the reason we say pop is because when you pull the little lever inside the car, the hood jumps up with a popping sound.
Exactly. And listeners, you can also use pop with other things. For example, pop the trunk means open the back of the car. Or even in daily life, pop the door open for me means quickly open the door.
That's a super useful point. And honestly, when you know phrases like that, you don't just understand cars better, you understand life better. Because English is full of these little everyday expressions.
Yes, and one more thing about mechanics. Sometimes people feel embarrassed when they don't know these words. But you don't have to. Even native speakers get confused with car words. I mean, have you ever heard someone say, "What's that clicking noise? Is it the engine or the transmission?" Most people don't even know the difference.
True, and that's why we're here, to make it simple. So let's break it down. The engine is the heart of the car. The transmission is what helps the car move and change gears. If either of them is busted, the car won't go anywhere.
I like that. Engine equals the heart, transmission equals the legs. Without them, your car just sits there like a big, useless box.
That's a great way to remember it. And here's a little grammar tip for our learners. When something stops working, you can say, "It doesn't work," or "It's not working." But if it's really broken, you can say, "It's busted." Very natural, very casual.
Perfect. And if you're ever in an English-speaking country and your car breaks down, now you'll know what to say. Imagine you tell the mechanic, "My car died on me, I popped the hood, and I saw steam spewing out." Wow, that would impress them.
Not only impress them, it will probably save you from being overcharged because they'll know you actually understand what's going on.
That's the power of English. It's not just words, it's confidence.
And if you're finding this helpful, don't forget to hit like, share this with a friend who drives, and write in the comments, what's one English phrase you learned today that you'll remember? Mia, have you ever seen someone panic when their car suddenly makes a strange noise?
Oh, yes. I remember one of my friends. She was driving and suddenly the car started making this loud knocking sound. She pulled over, called me, and said, "Mia, my car is going to explode."
That's a very common fear. But here's something useful for our listeners. When a car makes a strange noise, you don't always need to panic. Instead, you can describe the sound. For example, you can say, "My car is making a clicking noise," or "There's a buzzing sound," or even, "I hear a squeaking noise when I brake."
That's so true. And describing the noise helps the mechanic understand the problem faster. It's like giving the doctor your symptoms. If you just say, "My car is broken," it doesn't help much. But if you say, "There's smoke coming out," or "The engine died on me," it's much clearer.
Exactly. And here's a little language tip. When you describe problems, use the present continuous tense. For example, "It's making a strange sound," "It's leaking oil," or "It's not starting." That's how native speakers explain problems.
That's gold. And you can even use these phrases outside of cars. Imagine you're talking about your phone. You can say, "My phone is not charging," or "My screen is freezing." Same pattern, different object.
See? Learning about cars teaches you more English than just cars. It teaches you how to explain problems in daily life.
And one more word I love is spare parts. It sounds so simple, but many learners don't know it. Spare means extra. So spare parts are the extra pieces the mechanic uses to fix your car.
Yes, and you can use spare in many ways. Do you have a spare pen? Or, "I always carry a spare key in my bag." So practical.
So listeners, the next time something goes wrong with your car, don't just say, "It's broken." Be confident and say, "It's making a strange sound. it's leaking, or I think I need some spare parts.
That's how you turn car trouble into English power. And if this gave you a new phrase you can use today, share it, give this a like, and tell us in the comments what sound your car, or maybe your phone, has made recently.
Alex, I have to admit something. Once, I completely overheated my engine because I forgot to check the water in the radiator.
Oh no, Mia. That's like rule number 1 of car care. The radiator is what keeps your engine cool. If there's no water or coolant, the engine overheats and then, boom, white steam spewing everywhere.
Exactly. And I learned a valuable lesson. Always check your radiator, especially before a long trip. But let's make this useful for our listeners. The word overheat is very important. You can say, my car overheated, or the engine is overheating.
That's a great word. And here's something interesting. You can use overheat in other ways too. For example, my laptop overheated because I used it all day. Or even in daily life, the argument overheated, meaning it got too intense.
Yes, I love words that can be used in different situations. And when my engine overheated, the mechanic said something else. The pistons were busted. That word, piston, sounds so technical, but it's actually simple. Pistons are small moving parts inside the engine that go up and down like little pumps.
That's right. And here's a memory trick for our learners. Imagine a trumpet. You press the valves up and down, that's like pistons. They move and help control the flow.
I like that. And the word busted here is really natural. Native speakers don't usually say, my piston is broken. They'll say, it's busted. You can use it for anything. My shoes are busted. My old phone is busted. Or even, I busted my watch yesterday.
So true. And there's another car word that's easy to remember. Fuel pump. A pump pushes something, like a bike pump pushes air. A fuel pump pushes gasoline into the engine so the car can run.
That's a really clear way to explain it. And it's also useful to know because sometimes a car doesn't start, not because the engine is bad, but because the fuel pump is not working.
So for our listeners, here are the keywords from today. Radiator, overheat, pistons, busted, and fuel pump. If you can remember these, you'll sound like a pro when you're at the mechanic.
And more importantly, you'll feel confident. English isn't just about grammar. It's about knowing the right words in real-life situations.
So if this part gave you some new words to add to your vocabulary, hit that like button, share this episode, and tell us in the comments, have you ever overheated something? Your car, your laptop, or even your coffee machine? Mia, let's talk about something I think every driver dreads, when the mechanic says, you'll have to leave the car here for 2 weeks.
Oh, yes. That sentence feels like a nightmare. 2 weeks without your car? How do you go shopping? How do you get to school or work? It feels impossible.
And this is where we need some vocabulary for everyday frustration. For example, you can say, this is not happening, or you've got to be kidding me. These are natural phrases to show shock or disappointment.
Exactly. And another one I like is, what am I supposed to do now? That's very common when something unexpected happens and you feel stuck. You can use it not only for cars, but in many situations. For example, my phone just died on me. What am I supposed to do now?
That's a good one. And here's a little grammar tip. Notice how we use supposed to in that sentence. It's a very natural structure for English learners to practice. I'm supposed to study tonight. You're supposed to call your mom. We're supposed to finish by Friday.
Yes, and if you forget this phrase, remember, supposed to equals what is expected. But when you add a question, what am I supposed to do? It shows confusion or stress.
Exactly. And when the mechanic tells you 2 weeks, it's also a good chance to practice polite complaints. Instead of shouting, you can say, "Is there any way it could be faster?" Or, "Could you check if you have the parts sooner?"
I love that because politeness is power. If you complain politely, people actually want to help you more. For example, you could say, "I really need my car for work. Is there any chance it will be ready earlier?" That sounds respectful, but it also shows urgency.
Yes, and these kinds of polite requests are useful in so many areas, not only mechanics, but also at restaurants, airports, or even with customer service on the phone.
So, listeners, the next time you feel stressed because something is delayed, don't just shout or give up. Use these powerful phrases. "This is not happening. What am I supposed to do now?" And the polite request, "Is there any way it could be faster?"
And if you found these phrases helpful, don't forget to share this podcast with a friend who might need them. Hit that like button and tell us in the comments what's something that left you thinking, what am I supposed to do now?
Alex, do you know what makes car trouble even worse? When it happens at the worst possible moment. Like when you're late, or when it's raining, or even worse, when it's snowing.
Oh, yes. It feels like cars wait for the most inconvenient time to break down. And that gives us a really useful phrase, bad timing. For example, my car broke down on the way to my job interview. Such bad timing.
That's a good one. And you can use bad timing in everyday life, too. I called my friend to ask for help, but she was in the middle of dinner. Bad timing.
Exactly. And another phrase that fits here is, of all times. Imagine you're in traffic and your car stops. You can say, my car died on me, of all times, right in the middle of rush hour.
That sounds so natural. And it's true, most breakdowns feel like they happen at the worst possible moment. But here's something practical for learners. When you're explaining a situation, add details about time and place. Instead of just saying, my car broke, say, my car broke down last night on the way home in the rain. It makes your English richer and clearer.
That's a great communication tip. Adding context is powerful. You can use the same trick for other problems too. For example, my phone died in the middle of an important call. Or the internet stopped working right before my online class.
Yes, and by the way, another very common word with cars is breakdown. When a car stops working, you say, it broke down. It's a phrasal verb, so it's super important to learn.
Absolutely. And here's a bonus. You can also use breakdown for people. If someone cries a lot, you can say, she broke down in tears. Or if someone explains something step by step, you can say, let me break it down for you.
See, one simple phrase, break down, can be used in so many different ways. That's why I love teaching through these real-life situations.
And listeners, if you're enjoying this, share it with someone who has had car trouble before. Give this podcast a like, and write in the comments, has something ever broken down on you at the worst possible time? Mia, do you know what I think is one of the scariest parts about car trouble? It's not just the car. It's the feeling of being helpless, not knowing what to do.
Oh, absolutely. Standing on the side of the road with cars rushing past, maybe holding your phone and thinking, who should I call? That can feel really stressful. And that's why having the right English words ready is so important. It gives you a sense of control.
Exactly. For example, you might need to call roadside assistance. You can say, my car broke down on the highway. Can you send a tow truck? That's a very natural request. Tow truck is the special truck that pulls your car when it can't move.
Yes, and you can also use simple sentences like, my car won't start, or there's smoke coming out of my engine. The key is to be clear and direct. That way, the person on the other end knows exactly what you need.
And here's a useful phrase for learners. I'm stranded. That means you're stuck somewhere with no way to move. For example, I'm stranded on the side of the road. You can also use it outside of cars. I was stranded at the airport because my flight was canceled.
That's a powerful word. And another practical phrase is, I need a lift. That's a casual way to ask for a ride. For example, could you give me a lift to the gas station? Native speakers say that all the time.
Yes, and you could also say, can I catch a ride with you? Same meaning. Little phrases like these make your English sound real and natural, like a local.
And here's a culture point. In English-speaking countries, people often stop to help strangers with car trouble. If someone asks, do you need a hand? They're offering help. That's such a friendly phrase. Do you need a hand means, can I help you?
I love that phrase. And learners, you can use it in any situation, not only cars. If someone is carrying heavy bags, you can say, do you need a hand? It's a great way to sound kind and helpful.
So next time you're stuck or you see someone stuck, remember these useful words: tow truck, stranded, lift, catch a ride, and do you need a hand? They're lifesavers in English and in real life.
And if you think these phrases are ones you'll actually use, don't just keep them in your notebook. Like this podcast, share it, like it, and drop a comment. Who would you call first if your car broke down?
Alex, here's something interesting. Car trouble doesn't only teach us words about cars, it also teaches us how to deal with stress in English.
That's so true. Think about it. When your car breaks down, your emotions go crazy. You might feel angry, worried, or even embarrassed. And English has so many natural phrases for those feelings.
Exactly. For example, if you're frustrated, you can say, this is driving me crazy, or I can't take this anymore. Those are strong, natural expressions.
Yes, and if you're worried, you can say, I'm freaking out, or I'm really stressed out. Both are super common and very real.
And don't forget the softer, more polite ones, too. For example, I'm a little nervous about this, or I'm not sure what to do. Those are also useful when you don't want to sound too dramatic.
Great point. And here's a cultural tip. In many English-speaking countries, people often use humor to deal with stress. Imagine your car breaks down and you say, well, looks like my car just wanted a little nap. It doesn't solve the problem, but it makes the situation lighter.
That's so true. And it's a great English learning trick. Don't just learn serious phrases. Learn playful ones too. They make you sound friendlier and more natural.
I also think it's important to know phrases for asking others to stay calm. You can say, take it easy, or don't worry, we'll figure it out. These are perfect when you're helping a friend who's panicking.
Yes. And for self-motivation, I love saying, I'll get through this, or it's not the end of the world. These phrases remind you to stay positive.
So car trouble can actually teach us emotional vocabulary too. You learn how to express frustration, worry, humor, and encouragement, all in English.
And listeners, here's a challenge for you. In the comments, write one English phrase you would use if your car broke down and you felt stressed. Share your creativity. We'd love to see it.
Mia, you know what I love about these conversations? We start with something negative, like car trouble, but in the end, we discover so many positive lessons about English and even about life.
Exactly. A broken car isn't just a broken car. It's a chance to practice vocabulary, learn new expressions, and build confidence. And when you know the right words, you stop feeling powerless.
Right. Imagine this. Instead of saying, my car is broken, you can say, my engine overheated, I popped the hood, and I think the fuel pump is busted. Doesn't that sound powerful?
It really does. And the same goes for life. English gives you power in everyday situations, whether it's fixing a car, ordering food, or asking for help. The more you know, the stronger you feel.
And what I love is that these words are not only about cars. Busted, die on me, spare, breakdown. You can use them in so many parts of life. That's what makes your English grow faster.
Yes, and here's the motivational part. Don't be afraid of problems, whether it's with your car or your English. Every problem is a chance to learn. If your car breaks, you learn new car words. If your English breaks, you practice and fix it.
That's beautiful, Mia.
And listeners, remember, fluency doesn't come from memorizing lists, it comes from living real situations and using the words that matter.
So the next time your car acts up, don't just get angry. Take it as your English classroom. Practice the words, try out the phrases, and you'll see, you're not just fixing your car, you're fixing your English.
And if you enjoyed this journey with us, make sure you like this podcast, share it with someone who drives, and write in the comments one new phrase you'll use from today's talk. Your story might inspire someone else.
Howdy. Nice car. What seems to be the problem?
I don't know. The stupid old car started spewing white smoke and it just died on me. Luckily, I managed to start it up and drive it here. What do you think it is?
Not sure yet. How about you pop the hood and we can take a look? Doesn't look good.
What do you mean? My daddy gave me this car for my birthday last month. It's brand new.
Well, Missy, the white smoke that you saw is steam from the radiator. You overheated your engine, so now the pistons are busted, and so is your transmission. You should have called us and we could have towed you over here when your car died.
So, how long is this gonna take? An hour?
I'm afraid a bit more than that. We need to order the spare parts, take apart your electrical system, fuel pump, and engine, and then put it back together again. You were gonna have to leave it here for at least 2 weeks.
What? How am I supposed to go to school? Or go shopping? This is not happening. So if I were the mechanic, I would not be very happy to be dealing with someone like this girl.
I think it's maybe it's a little bit stereotypical that we put it as a girl, because guys and girls, so many people don't know anything about cars or mechanics. Right?
And in the States, there's a lot of female mechanics too, so it's it's mixed.
Yeah. But definitely it's something that happens all the time, and probably the mechanic will overcharge her as well, because apparently she doesn't know what she's doing.
And that's one of the reasons we want to give you the vocabulary to deal with these situations. So let's look at some of those car words in today's language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
All right, so we're going to take a look at very specific words related to cars and the engines and everything. So let's start with the first one.
Radiator.
Radiator. All right, so the radiator of the car.
So a radiator is something that you normally find in the front of the car near the engine. It usually gets very, very hot, right?
Yeah.
So one of the big issues is radiators getting too hot because there's no way to cool them down.
So if you live in a place that's very hot, the radiator keeps your engine cool because it has water in it. So if it overheats, or maybe you didn't put enough water in there, then it'll start spewing steam, like in this dialogue.
And if you have a problem with your radiator, you could actually do a lot of damage to your engine, which is why this is important.
Exactly, and that's what happened in this dialogue. So a radiator. Now, because the radiator wasn't working well, it overheated the engine, and he said they had some busted pistons.
So broken pistons. Pistons are important because they're kind of like valves that go up and down.
Right, so inside your engine you have mini explosions, and the pistons move up and down, and that's what actually moves your car.
Right, and so pistons in general are things in mechanics. So like a trumpet has pistons, things that go up and down and that allow for the flow of
Air or something like that. Very good. So that's a piston. And well, another very common mechanic term is the transmission.
All right, so the transmission, what happens if your transmission dies? Can you still drive?
You basically can't move, or maybe you only have one gear or two gears.
All right, so think about transmission as coming from the word to transmit. That means to transfer. Right.
So this is the part of the car that transfers energy or the power to actually move the car. So the transmission.
And we've got the mechanic who says, well, we've got to order you some spare parts. So first, let's look at the word spare. What's another word for spare?
Additional, maybe
Extra?
Extra.
Right, so spare means extra. Parts are, well, pieces. So he's talking about ordering a new transmission, new pistons, things to replace the broken things.
Spare parts. So this is where you go to the mechanic to get some spare parts and get them installed.
You probably don't have many spare parts at home, right? You got a transmission lying around.
Well, yeah, so spare parts. And the last word that we're going to take a look at is a fuel pump.
Okay, so a pump is you could have a bike pump,
A water pump.
water pump. So these are some things that we use very, very often. But a fuel pump is something that allows gasoline, to get into your engine.
So it's basically a device that pushes gasoline into the engine so you can start. And that's the same thing with the water pump. It's a device that pushes water.
Or an air pump is something that pushes air into your tires on your bicycle.
Exactly. So a fuel pump, water pump, etc.
Wow, I feel like we know a lot about cars.
Yeah, apparently we do, see? All right, so now that we've taken a look at all of these great words, let's move on to a couple of phrases in Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
All right, these are phrases that you hear sometimes when you're talking about electronics, but in today's lesson, we're also talking about specific car phrases, so you're going to hear these all the time at the mechanics.
Right, and the first one is, the car suddenly died on me.
All right, to die on. So we keep these two words together, die on. Oh man, so while you were driving, your car died. It stopped moving.
So that means that it doesn't work anymore. And it's not only for cars, right? You can say my MP3 player died on me today.
Exactly. And what it means is it's not like you left it and you forgot about it and you tried it again and it didn't work. It means while you're using it, it dies.
Exactly.
It doesn't work.
So I think this phrase is a good one to give some other examples. So let's listen.
Example 1.
My CD player died on me, and I had to listen to the radio.
Example 2.
Get that medicine over here fast or this guy's gonna die on me.
Example 3.
I forgot to charge my mobile phone. It's gonna die on me soon.
And so this next one is a phrase you hear. The first thing you hear maybe when you tell someone you have a car problem.
Right, you tell them to pop the hood.
Or let's pop the hood. So this means let's open the front part of the car, the hood, to look at the engine, transmission, all those parts.
Exactly. So you can say open the hood, but the most common one is pop the hood.
So the reason is because there's a little spring and you
Yeah.
have to pull inside the car and it goes pop,
Yeah.
and there's a little jump.
Yeah,
the hood
exactly.
jumps. So it's literally popping.
Right. Or you can also say the trunk, right? The back part of the car.
Hey, can you pop the trunk for me? I've got to put some stuff inside.
Exactly. So pop the hood, pop the trunk.
And next we've got this girl actually who's talking about her car because she just got this car. So it's another way to say it's a new car.
It's brand new.
Is that more new than new?
It's like newer than new.
All right, so brand, you think about brands like Ford or Gucci. These are brands, but brand new means she maybe got it like today.
So it's brand new. It's very, very new.
Did you see my brand new watch?
Wow, it is nice. Where'd you get it? All right, so brand new. And well, the last phrase that we have for you today is to take apart something.
All right, so this is very popular with young children. Like they like to take things apart so they can find out how they work. But to take apart means to take all the pieces and to pull them out.
Yeah, I used to do that a lot when I was a kid. I used to take apart any electronic device to kind of see how it works, and then I would try to put it back together again. And
That's why you're so smart.
well, it never really worked. It worked half the time.
So the problem is always putting them back together again, right?
Exactly. So you can take it apart, but then you put it back together, and there's always a screw missing, or a screw that's extra, or 2 or 3 parts. Very
Not
weird.
a good sign.
All right, so we've taken a look at a lot of great words and phrases, so let's listen to this dialogue for the last time.
Welcome to WorldPod English Video. Today, let's dive into a story about something that happens to most of us when we're least prepared. Car troubles on the road. Picture this. You're driving down a quiet road after a long day at work. The sun is setting, and you can almost taste the comfort of your couch. Suddenly, out of nowhere, your car starts to sputter. The engine makes a strange noise, and then it dies. You're stuck, right in the middle of nowhere. It's a feeling many of us know too well, isn't it? You look around, there's no one in sight to help. You try to start the engine, but it won't turn on. It's as if the car is saying, "I'm done." And then you see something odd. white smoke rising from under the hood. What do? What's going on with the car? Is it going to cost you an arm and a leg? Let's find out. You pull over and pop the hood to take a look. What do you see? The radiator looks like it's been through a battle. There's steam everywhere. It's clear now the engine has overheated. Maybe you didn't notice the warning signs like the temperature gauge rising. The mechanic arrives. He walks over and peeks under the hood. Your engine's overheated. The pistons are busted and your transmission is shot, he says calmly. You'll need some serious repairs, and it's going to take more than a few hours. You're shocked. How could this happen? You just got the car a few months ago. What's even worse, the mechanic says you'll need to leave the car for at least 2 weeks. 2 weeks without your car? How will you manage? But then, the mechanic explains. He talks about the radiator, the pistons, and the fuel pump. He says, the radiator helps keep your engine cool, but if it's not working properly, it can cause your engine to overheat. When that happens, parts like the pistons and transmission can get damaged. At this point, you might feel overwhelmed, but this mechanic's calm explanation starts to make things clear. Now you understand the importance of maintenance and why you should never ignore those little warning signs.
The mechanic continues, showing you around the engine. Look at this, he says, pointing to a part of the car you never even knew existed. The fuel pump. This little device pumps gas into your engine so the car can run smoothly. He looks at you with a raised eyebrow. If this breaks, you won't be going anywhere, no matter how good the rest of your car is. You nod, trying to understand. It's like all these parts of the car are like gears in a giant machine, working together to keep you moving. The problem is, when one thing goes wrong, it all starts to fall apart. But don't worry, he reassures you. We've got the parts we need to fix it. It's just going to take some time. You wonder how much time is some time, but you're trying to stay positive. The mechanic tells you that in situations like this, it's always better to catch the problem early, before it gets worse. Your car may seem fine one minute, but if you ignore the small issues, like overheating, you could end up with much bigger problems down the road. Suddenly, you remember the phrase your friend told you about earlier. Prevention is better than cure. It's starting to make sense. All those small things you had brushed off, like that weird noise or the occasional overheating warning, could have been signs of something much bigger. Maybe you didn't pay enough attention. Maybe you didn't take the time to pop the hood and check it out. Now the mechanic's words stick with you. He talks about how important it is to regularly check your car's fluid levels. Engine oil, coolant, transmission fluid. Even something as simple as keeping your radiator filled with coolant can save you from disaster later on. Your mind races. You don't want to be one of those drivers who only pay attention to their car when something goes wrong. You vowed to change your habits, to learn more about your car, and to always make sure it's in good shape. After all, a car isn't just about driving from point A to point B. It's about understanding the parts that make it run smoothly. As the mechanic begins ordering the parts you need, you realize this experience is a bit of a wake-up call. Maybe you didn't know much about cars before, but you're about to learn a lot. You might not be a mechanic yet, but at least now you have a better understanding of how your car works and how to keep it running as long as possible.
The next day, you wake up early, determined to take better care of your car. As you drive to work, you notice everything seems to be working fine. The engine runs smoothly, the car feels solid on the road. But then, a thought crosses your mind. Do I really know what's going on under the hood? Suddenly, you remember something important. The radiator, which seemed so mysterious before, is actually one of the most crucial parts of the car. You start to recall the mechanic's explanation about how it keeps the engine cool, preventing it from overheating. Without the radiator, your engine could get so hot that it would seize up completely. And it's not just the radiator that's important. Pistons and transmissions work together to make sure the car can move. You start to pay more attention to the little things. The way your car feels when it accelerates, the sound it makes when you start the engine, even the small squeaks that sometimes happen when you turn the wheel. These little signs could be telling you something. Before, you would have ignored them, but now you see that paying attention could save you a lot of trouble. But then, you have a new problem to think about. What happens if your car dies on you again? You recall the mechanic saying that if the car suddenly dies, it could be anything from a problem with the fuel pump to something worse, like a damaged transmission. Now, every time you're on the road, you wonder, is everything okay with my car? But instead of panicking, you realize there's no harm in being proactive. You don't have to wait for the car to break down before getting it checked. Little problems can be fixed before they become big, expensive headaches. The more you think about it, the more you realize how important it is to take apart the problem, just like the mechanic would take apart the engine to fix it. Understanding how things work gives you power, the power to solve problems before they get out of hand. You start thinking about your friends and family. Have they been checking their cars regularly? Have they paid attention to their car's health? You decide to share what you've learned. You tell your brother about the radiator and how it keeps the engine cool. You remind your sister to check the fluid levels in her car. It feels good to share this knowledge because, just like the mechanic helped you, you can help others take care of their cars too. As you drive through the city, you notice something else. You're more aware of other drivers. You see someone struggling with their car, and you wonder, could it be that they're in the same position you were yesterday? You think about offering them help, but you're not sure if it's safe. Still, the idea of helping others who are in trouble on the road makes you think more deeply about how much we rely on our cars and how we should take care of them. The next weekend, you decide it's time for a more in-depth checkup on your car. You're not a mechanic, but you've learned a lot in the past few days. You head to the local auto store and pick up a few supplies: engine oil, coolant, and a basic toolkit. You might not know everything about cars yet, but you're determined to make sure your car doesn't break down on you again. As you stand in front of the car, you feel a mix of excitement and nervousness. What if you mess something up? What if you don't know how to fix it? But then, you remember the mechanic's advice. Prevention is the key. Even if you don't get everything perfect today, you'll be ahead of the game by simply trying. You start with something simple: the oil. The mechanic had mentioned how important it is to keep your engine well oiled. You open the hood and check the oil level. It's a little low, but nothing too serious. You grab the oil and carefully pour it in, making sure not to overfill. You feel proud of yourself. This little task, which seemed so complicated before, now feels like second nature. Next, you move on to the coolant. You remember how the radiator is supposed to keep the engine cool, but if the coolant is low, it won't be as effective. You check the radiator fluid level, and sure enough, it's below the minimum line. You add more coolant, feeling more confident with each step. As you work, you start to notice the connections between the different parts of the car. The engine, the radiator, the pistons, all of them work together to keep the car running smoothly. But as you tighten the cap on the coolant, you realize something important. Cars are not just machines, they're systems. Each part plays a role, and they all rely on one another. When one part breaks, the whole system is affected. You think about how this is a lot like life. When something in your life isn't working, whether it's a small issue or a big one, it's important to address it before it becomes a bigger problem. While you're at it, you check the tire pressure.
You remember how the mechanic mentioned that keeping the tires properly inflated is essential for safety. It's not a big job, but it's another small thing that can make a huge difference. You also decide to clean the windshield, making sure you can see clearly. It's the little details that add up, you realize. As you finish the checkup, you feel a sense of accomplishment. It wasn't as hard as you thought, and you've learned so much along the way. You start thinking about how much knowledge can help in every aspect of life, whether it's maintaining your car or taking care of yourself. By being proactive and paying attention, you've made sure your car is in good shape. And who knows, the next time something goes wrong, you might be able to fix it yourself. You even start to feel like you could become one of those people who takes apart things to figure out how they work. Maybe one day you'll tackle something bigger, like learning about the engine or the transmission. But for now, you're happy knowing that you're more prepared than ever to take care of your car, and that feels pretty good.
The following week, something unexpected happens. You're driving down the road when you see a car pulled over at the side. The hood is up, and there's no one around. A moment later, you spot a person standing near the car, looking a bit lost. It's a woman, maybe in her late 20s, staring at her car with frustration. You can tell by the look on her face that she's in trouble. Without thinking twice, you pull over. As you step out of your car, she looks at you with relief. I think my car's broken, she says, pointing to the engine. I have no idea what's going on. It just won't start. You feel that familiar sense of uncertainty. What if you don't know how to help? But then, you take a deep breath and remember everything you've learned over the past few weeks. Maybe you can't fix everything, but you know enough to get started. You ask her to pop the hood, and as soon as it opens, you notice the same thing the mechanic showed you a while back. White smoke rising from the radiator. It's just like when your car broke down the week before. You smile a little, knowing what's happening. Looks like your engine is overheated, you tell her. The radiator might be out of coolant, and the engine could be getting too hot. She looks at you wide-eyed. You know this stuff? I'm not an expert, you say, with a laugh, but I've been learning a lot about cars lately. You might need to call a mechanic to get it checked out, but first, let's check the coolant and see if that helps. You open the radiator cap carefully, checking the coolant level. It's low, just like it was in your car the week before. You explain to her that it's important to keep the coolant topped up to prevent the engine from overheating. You add some to her radiator and give her some advice about keeping an eye on the car's fluids, just like the mechanic told you. Thank you so much, she says, clearly relieved. I thought I was completely stuck here. I'm going to take it to the shop and get it checked out. I had no idea how important all this stuff is. You feel a little bit like a car expert yourself. It's not that you've become a mechanic overnight, but you've gained enough knowledge to help someone else. You feel good about being able to share what you've learned. It's amazing how much more confident you feel now when it comes to cars. It's not just about car repairs. It's about the confidence that comes from learning something new. It's about empowering yourself so that you're not just waiting for things to go wrong, you're ready for them when they do. A few days later, as you're out driving, you can't help but think about how much your confidence has grown. The other day, you helped someone with their car trouble, and it felt good. But now, as you drive through the city, you realize you've become more observant, more aware of the road and the cars around you. It's like you've shifted from being a passenger to a driver of knowledge, not just of your car, but of life itself. As you drive, you pass a mechanic shop. You notice a sign outside that reads, "Free car checkup." You're curious, so you pull over. Maybe this is a chance to learn more, to fill in the gaps in your knowledge. After all, you've already learned about things like radiators, pistons, and fuel pumps, but there's always more to learn, right? You step inside the shop, and the mechanic greets you with a friendly smile.
Hey there, what can I do for you?
I've been learning a lot about cars lately, I tell him. I was wondering if you could show me a few things I might have missed. He raises an eyebrow, clearly intrigued. Well, I'm happy to help. Do you have something specific in mind? I'd like to know more about how the transmission works. I remember you mentioning it the other day when I was having car trouble. What exactly does it do? You ask. The mechanic nods. Great question. The transmission is like the heart of your car's power system. It controls the gears, which allows the car to change speeds. Without it, your car wouldn't move smoothly or at all. He leads you over to a car they're working on and shows you the transmission. This is where the magic happens, he says, pointing to the big metal casing. The transmission takes the power from the engine and transmits it to the wheels, making sure the car moves at the right speed. You're amazed at how much there is to learn. You hadn't even realized how much power the transmission has over the car's performance. It's incredible how something so important can be so hidden from sight. You start to understand that the world of cars is like a puzzle. There are so many pieces, and each one plays an important role in keeping the car running. As the mechanic walks you through some more car systems, you begin to feel like you're gaining real insight into how things work. He talks about the gearbox, how it controls the gears that allow your car to shift from one speed to another. If your gearbox is damaged or the gears are worn out, it can make driving dangerous. Your car might not shift properly, and you could end up stuck in one gear or unable to accelerate. It's not just about fixing cars. It's about understanding them, respecting how they work, and knowing when something's wrong before it gets too serious. As you leave the shop, your mind is buzzing with new knowledge. You didn't think you'd ever be interested in car mechanics, but now it feels like a whole new world has opened up to you. The more you learn, the more you realize how much you can do, not just with cars, but with any challenge life throws at you. With the right knowledge, you feel like you can tackle anything, whether it's fixing a car or solving a problem that seems impossible. You think about the woman you helped a few days ago and how good it felt to use your new knowledge to make a difference in someone else's life. It wasn't just about fixing a car, it was about sharing what you'd learned, and that felt even more valuable.
A few weeks go by, and you start to notice a difference in how you approach not just cars, but life in general. It's a subtle change, but it's there. You find yourself thinking about problems differently, more systematically, like a mechanic thinking about a car's engine. You begin to ask questions, to break things down, and to look for solutions before they become major issues. One morning, you're walking to your car, ready to head out for the day. As you reach for the door handle, you hear a strange noise, a squeaking sound coming from under the car. You stop for a second and listen carefully. The noise isn't loud, but it's there, and something about it catches your attention. It's a little high-pitched, like something is rubbing against something else. In the past, you might have just shrugged it off and continued driving. But today is different. Today, you've learned to listen. You take a deep breath, walk around the car, and get down on one knee. Slowly, you start checking the tires, the wheels, and the suspension. Everything looks fine, but you know that something isn't right. You decide to check the brakes, something you wouldn't have thought about before. As you lift the hood and look under the car, you realize that the noise is coming from a loose brake pad. It's a small issue, but it could lead to bigger problems if left unchecked. You remember the mechanic's advice from weeks ago. Small issues lead to big repairs. You decide to head straight to the shop for a quick check. When you arrive at the mechanic's shop, you mention the squeaking sound and the brake pad. The mechanic takes a quick look, nods, and says, "Good catch. This could have turned into a bigger problem down the line. We'll fix it right away." As you sit in the waiting area, you feel a surge of pride. It's not just that you caught the problem before it became serious. It's that you knew how to approach it. You weren't just guessing or ignoring it. You took action, and you handled it. While you wait for the mechanic to finish the repairs, you think back to when you didn't know anything about cars. Back then, you would have felt completely helpless.
Now you understand that you don't have to know everything right away to be successful. It's about taking small steps, learning as you go, and using what you've learned to make better decisions. When the mechanic finishes, he hands you the keys and says, "All fixed. You did a good job by catching that early. A lot of people would have waited until it was too late." You thank him and head out to your car. As you drive away, you realize how far you've come. You didn't just learn about cars. You learned how to approach problems in general. It's all about being proactive, staying observant, and always learning. Now, when something goes wrong, you don't panic. You take a moment, assess the situation, and find the best way to solve it. You smile thinking about how this new way of thinking can apply to so many parts of your life. It's not just about fixing cars. It's about fixing whatever challenges come your way, with confidence and knowledge.
One evening, after a long day of work, you're heading home when you notice a car parked by the side of the road with its emergency flashers on. It's not far from where you live, so you slow down to take a look. The car looks familiar. It's a neighbor's car. You recognize the color and the bumper sticker, but what catches your attention is the fact that she's standing outside, pacing around her car. You pull over instinctively, remembering the feeling of being stuck on the side of the road not too long ago. You step out of your car and approach her. "Hey, is everything okay?" She looks up at you, a bit frazzled. "I think something's wrong with my car. It just started making this terrible noise, and I don't know what to do." You take a deep breath, feeling a sense of calm wash over you. Instead of panicking like you might have in the past, you feel ready. "Let's pop the hood and see what's going on," you suggest, remembering how the mechanic always started by taking a good look under the hood. As she opens the hood, the first thing you notice is a bit of smoke coming from the engine. It's faint, but there. You can tell this is not a good sign, and the engine temperature gauge is already in the red zone, overheating. You recall your own experience with the radiator and the importance of checking the coolant levels. "Looks like your radiator is out of coolant and the engine's overheating," you tell her gently. "This can cause serious damage if you keep driving it. We need to add coolant and let the engine cool down before anything else." She looks up at you, a bit frazzled. "You know what to do?" "I've learned a lot in the past few weeks," you smile. "I'm not a mechanic, but I can help with the basics." You run through the process with her. You open the radiator cap carefully, making sure it's safe, and pour in some coolant. As you work, you explain why it's so important to avoid driving a car with an overheated engine. If the coolant runs out or the radiator doesn't work, the engine can seize up, and that's much more expensive to fix. Once you've topped up the coolant, you wait a few minutes, letting the car cool down a bit. Then you start the engine again, slowly this time, watching carefully for any strange sounds. The engine seems to be running smoothly now. "You're all set," you say with a smile. "Just make sure to get it checked out soon. You don't want this problem to come back." Your neighbor is clearly relieved. "Thank you so much. I was so stressed out. I had no idea what to do." "Don't mention it," I reply. "I've been there. And honestly, taking care of these small things is way better than waiting for them to turn into big problems." As you head back to your car, you feel a sense of pride. It's not just about knowing how to handle a car breakdown anymore. It's about knowing how to help others too. You've come a long way from that person who felt lost at the side of the road. Now you're the one who can take action and make a difference, not just in your own life, but in someone else's as well. You drive home with a sense of fulfillment. It's amazing how learning something new can change your entire perspective. You realize this isn't just about cars. It's about being prepared, staying calm under pressure, and being someone others can rely on when things go wrong. And the more you learn, the more you realize that life is full of these little challenges. The key is to stay curious, keep learning, and never stop growing. A few weeks later, everything feels different. You're not just driving your car, you're confidently taking care of it, and you've even helped others along the way.
It's a new feeling, one you didn't expect to come from something as simple as learning about car maintenance. But the truth is, this experience has taught you much more than how to fix a car. It's taught you about problem solving, patience, and the power of knowledge. One evening, you're heading out with some friends for a road trip. It's a beautiful night, the kind where the sky is clear and the stars are shining. You're excited about the trip, but as you get onto the highway, your car starts to make a funny noise again. This time, you don't panic. Instead, you calmly pull over to the side of the road, just like you've done before. Your friends are a little concerned. "Is everything okay?" one of them asks. "I think it's just a small issue," you reply, feeling reassured by the knowledge you've gained. You turn off the engine and pop the hood, checking the usual things: the coolant, the oil, and the radiator. Everything seems fine. But just to be sure, you decide to give the tires a quick check. You remember how important it is to keep them properly inflated for both safety and fuel efficiency. As you inspect the tires, you notice something strange: a small rock stuck in one of the grooves. It's not a huge problem, but it could cause damage over time if left unnoticed. You pull it out, check the tire pressure, and everything seems good to go. "I think we're all set," you say, closing the hood and starting the engine again. The noise is gone. You get back on the road feeling even more confident. The small issues you used to ignore now feel like opportunities to learn and grow. What seemed overwhelming at first has become just another part of everyday life. As you continue driving, you think back to how much you've learned in the past few months. You've gone from feeling helpless in the face of car trouble to feeling in control. You've learned that problems are just opportunities waiting to be solved. And most importantly, you've realized that learning doesn't stop. It's a lifelong process. Whether it's fixing a car or tackling a new challenge, the key is to stay curious, stay proactive, and never be afraid to ask questions. By the time you reach your destination, you're no longer just the person who learned about cars. You're someone who approaches life with the same confidence and curiosity. You know that no matter what challenges come your way, you have the tools to handle them. And as you step out of the car with your friends, you smile. The road ahead may have its bumps, but you're ready for whatever comes next.
Howdy. Nice car. What seems to be the problem?
I don't know. The stupid old car started spewing white smoke and it just died on me. Luckily, I managed to start it up and drive it here. What do you think it is?
Not sure yet. How about you pop the hood and we can take a look? Doesn't look good.
What do you mean? My daddy gave me this car for my birthday last month. It's brand new.
Well, Missy, the white smoke that you saw is steam from the radiator. You overheated your engine, so now the pistons are busted, and so is your transmission. You should have called us and we could have towed you over here when your car died.
So, how long is this gonna take? An hour?
I'm afraid a bit more than that. We need to order the spare parts, take apart your electrical system, fuel pump, and engine, and then put it back together again. You were gonna have to leave it here for at least 2 weeks.
What? How am I supposed to go to school or go shopping? This is not happening.
All right, so car trouble. Have you ever had like any very serious car trouble or like something weird happen to your car?
Actually, the week before I decided to leave Chicago, I had this 1991 Honda Civic hatchback, so only 2 doors.
Nice.
And I was driving home from work. I was on the highway, had the radio on, the windows open, and then doo 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 doo, boom.
It died.
It died in the middle of the highway during rush hour, right? So that's when there's
Wow.
tons of cars. And I didn't know what to do. So I'm calling people. And then all of a sudden I see someone tapping on my window. And there's cars everywhere. And it's this guy. And he's like, listen, do you need a hand? I said, yes. So I put the car in neutral so that there's no break.
Uh-huh.
And he pushed it to
Wow.
a side road and gave me a ride home.
No way.
He was the coolest guy. He was so nice. And he was just there with his truck. He's a gardener and just gave me a ride home. It was super, super cool.
Wow.
And so it turns out my engine died. No, the engine was new. It was the transmission. It was shot. It was totally broken.
Wow.
But I was very lucky to have such a kind person.
Yeah, that's a good story because usually people are too afraid or maybe a little bit reluctant to stop and see if you're okay or if you need a ride or something because you can't really trust people these days. So, but it's good. Once I saw somebody on the side of the road. It had a flat tire. It was two girls and they didn't know what to do. So I was like passing by. It was actually raining. And I was like, hey, do you guys need a hand? And they're like, yeah, please, man. We can't locate my dad or whatever. So I was like, changing the tire. It's not a big deal, right? And then they're like, oh, I think. And they wanted to tip me. They wanted to give me some money. They're like, oh, please take this. You're so kind. Your time and you're all wet. And I'm like, no, don't worry about it.
No, it's just a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
If you know anything about cars, I mean,
Yeah.
or if you can offer someone a lift. I know it's not terribly safe to ride with strangers, but this guy totally helped me out. So
Nice. All right. Well, maybe you guys have some cool or maybe some interesting stories of what's happened with your cars, or maybe you've helped somebody out. So come to our website at englishpod.com and let us know.
And of course, if you have any questions about the vocabulary or phrases that you heard today, please ask away. Don't hesitate. And well, again, we hope to see you on the website.
All right. We'll see you guys there.
Bye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word. To flow out of something in a fast and forceful way.
Spew.
The metal casing enclosing a set of gears in a motor vehicle.
Gearbox.
To stop working or running while in use by someone.
Die on.
A tubular acoustic device inserted in the exhaust system that is designed to reduce noise.
Muffler.
Broken.
Busted.
Control mechanism for keeping an automobile at a set speed.
Cruise control.
To remove all the pieces.
Take apart.
To pass after catching up with another vehicle on the road.
Overtake.
Introduces request or suggestion.
How about?
A device that is locked on the wheel of a car by the police to prevent it from moving.
Boot.
Let's try that faster. Broken.
Busted.
To flow out of something in a fast and forceful way.
Spew.
To remove all the pieces.
Take apart.
Introduces request or suggestion.
How about?
To pass after catching up with another vehicle on the road.
Overtake.
To stop working or running while in use by someone.
Die on.
Control mechanism for keeping an automobile at a set speed.
Cruise control.
A tubular acoustic device inserted in the exhaust system that is designed to reduce noise.
Muffler.
The metal casing enclosing a set of gears in a motor vehicle.
Gearbox.
A device that is locked on the wheel of a car by the police to prevent it from moving.
Boot.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Spew. Everyone in the village was evacuated when the volcano started spewing lava. Spew. After 10 hours of constant interrogation, the suspect finally spewed the truth. Spew. Frank had too much to drink and spewed all over the car. Die on. My CD player died on me, and I had to listen to the radio. Die on. Get that medicine over here fast, or this guy's gonna die on me. Die on. I forgot to charge my mobile phone. It's gonna die on me soon. How about? How about we go see a movie tonight? How about? How about you be quiet and let me do my job? How about? How about we get married in Cancun instead of Greece? Busted. We were playing baseball in the backyard, and I accidentally busted a window. Busted. Mike was in a car accident and busted his rib and arm. Busted. The cat knocked over my mom's favorite vase, and it busted into 1,000,000 pieces. Take apart. Once I'd taken the clock apart, I couldn't fit the bits together again. Take apart. When I was a kid, I loved taking apart my toys to see how they work. Take apart. This book shows you how to take apart electronic devices and gadgets.